What's going on, everybody? Peter back with another video for Buckeyes Battle Cry. Today, as you saw in the title, we're discussing 5 programs and coaches who are going to benefit the greatest from the expanded 12-team playoff. Let's get into it. First up, Lincoln Riley and the USC Trojans. Now, we all know they're joining the Big Ten Conference this year. They have got to step up their defense because they have massive deficiencies there, as they showed last year in a 5-loss season, of course. And that's always been Riley's shortcoming and downfall, even when he was at Oklahoma. Now, of course, he made the playoffs at Oklahoma a couple of times and had tremendous quarterbacks. But they enter a new conference, a physical conference. Now, USC's record against the Big Ten in years gone by in Rose Bowls is actually pretty favorable. It's near 500 versus Ohio State and absolutely dominated Michigan in Rose Bowls. So they have a good history versus the Big Ten, but they enter a more physical, defensive conference. And will they be able to adjust? Now, offensively, they've never had a problem, and they won't have problems, moving the ball with Lincoln Riley's amazing schemes and what he brings to the table as an offensive mind and who he can recruit at quarterback, let's be honest. But the Trojans haven't sniffed the playoffs in the 4-team era, not even once. Played in a couple CFP, or New Year's Six games, I should say. Obviously, Ohio State beat them in Dallas in the Rose Bowl. That wasn't the Rose Bowl. But they're a program that could greatly benefit having that 2 possible 3 losses and still making a lower seed of the playoffs. They're definitely a program to look out for as they have upgraded the defensive coordinator position now with Alex Grinch gone. We'll see how they respond. Defenses usually don't take a huge leap in year 1, but we'll find out how the Trojans do as they've got Corey Foreman and crew. The second program I want to talk about is Brian Kelly and the LSU Tigers. Now, of course, they won the 2019 national title on Joe Burrow and the former staff. Kelly came out in 2022, made the SEC championship game, and lost. That was the only playoff they made. It was in 2019. They are a program of peaks, high peaks, and low valleys, that's for sure. They're not very consistent, but they do finish between third and 6th in the SEC, and people think that a 10-2 or a 9-3 SEC team will sneak into the playoffs in a lower 10-11 seed. So the LSU Tigers have a chance, obviously, with the kind of quarterbacks that Kelly is able to now get, being in LSU in the South, and the amount of receivers and defensive linemen. He is upgraded, and they're a threat to potentially now make the playoffs, where previously, not so much. How about this for a curveball? Mike Gundy and the Oklahoma State Cowboys. Just hear me out on this one. Just hear me out. Oklahoma and Texas, the big dogs of the conference, are gone to the SEC. A power vacuum is now open in the Big 12. And don't forget, as of now, the Power 4 champions get an automatic bye in the playoffs. Somebody's going to win it, whether it be Oklahoma State, TCU, Cincinnati, or Kansas State, or even Kansas. Someone's going to fill that power void now that the big boys are off to the SEC. And Mike Gundy and Oklahoma State have been that program that have remained consistent enough that they could be, and they are my pick, to fill the Big 12's power void. Mike Gundy's been there a long time, one of the longest tenured coaches in college football at this stage, along with Kirk Ferentz at Iowa. And I believe, is my pick, the Oklahoma State will win the Big 12 this year and will be in the playoffs for the first time in program history. This one might seem a little more obvious. Out of the Big 10, James Franklin and Penn State consistently finished 10-2. Only one-time Big Ten champion in his 11-year reign in Happy Valley. But the Nittany Lions, with a 10-2 finish this year, would clearly make the playoffs. They avoid Michigan. They do play Ohio State in Happy Valley. But I'm talking long-term as well. They're the program, along with Oregon, that is probably going to be consistently finishing 2nd or 3rd in the conference. Franklin has an opportunity to take this program to the next level and get that massive payout that you get from making the playoffs. But he's kind of known as a choke artist. So we'll see on James Franklin. But they definitely have the opportunity to go forward, and it's right there in front of them. Will the Nittany Lions do it? And then the last program I want to talk about is the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Now, Freeman has kind of continued the mediocrity under that Kelly had in his Notre Dame program. But they are, unfortunately, a media darling. They get the benefit of the doubt more often than not in those seasons where they actually are contenders. We all know they're pretenders. But in an expanded playoff, they're going to make the playoffs some years. Don't even question it. At 10-2, Notre Dame will be in the playoffs. They have a softer schedule this year. Traditionally play a decent schedule, I would say. And so the Fighting Irish are in prime position because they get babied, they get favored, they get preseason rankings every year, even though they're undeserving. And occasionally in 2012 and as well, I think it was 2018, they made some big bowl games. Obviously, 2012, they got blown up by Bama, proving who they will be. Now, I'm not saying they're going to go far in the playoffs, but I will be saying they will be making the playoffs within the next 5 years. And then there's another bonus, and it's kind of thrown on here at the end. Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin have an opportunity. They're building something special. I think Lane has learned his lessons from Tennessee, USC, and Florida Atlantic and the programs that he's been at. I think he's become a better coach. He's matured, and a little bit. Not a lot, a little bit. And I think the Ole Miss Rebels have a chance to be that program in the SEC. We shall see, though, if Lane Kiffin sticks around or not, if he goes to a higher profile job. But if he stays in the air, I believe the Ole Miss Rebels will have a chance to be one of those programs to benefit from the expanded playoffs. And then, of course, the group of 5 teams, that'll change every year. Whether most likely will be Liberty this year, maybe be App State, Coastal Carolina, potentially BYU in odd years. You know, you're going to see group of 5 champions fluctuate and get that 12 seed in the playoffs. So, of course, they're going to benefit from the expanded playoffs. Not everybody's in favor of that. UCF, the most famous example, Boise State, one of them as well. You know, should they get their seat at the table and should they get their shot? I like fighting for the little guy, and they'll definitely get a spot. I won't say every year. But more often than not, I'd say 3 out of 5 years, the little guy will get their shot at the expanded playoffs. So that's it for today. Buckeyes Battle Cry signing out. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and enjoy your weekend. Go Bucks, and God bless. We'll see you on the next one.